All right, so I just got done doing a video saying stay away from these folks with a guy who's hawking index universal life insurance, and it's just ugly what these guys are doing. So a friend of mine, Jill, had emailed me this right here, which I'm going to read to you, and she said I could use it for a video. I'm not going to. The names will go. We won't say the names, but anyway. So she's on a Facebook. Oh, here's what I'll tell you what she says to me. She goes, "Hey Josh, I'm on a Facebook retirement group. It's kind of interesting at times, but there's one guy on here who's a know-it-all, and he's always touting permanent life insurance for everyone, even if you don't need it, even if you have anyone depending on you, if you're single." And then he posted this, and I'll read to you what he posted. And she goes, "This doesn't make sense to me. What am I missing here?" So let's read what this guy says. So this guy says, we have a 63-year-old client. Now, Jill's about 59, I think. A 63-year-old client who puts in a 101K sum over 4 years. Okay, put that in the back of your head there. If she needs it, she can have access to the death benefit, what's called an accelerated death benefit. And the death benefit is $1.37 million for long-term care. So she can have access to it for long-term care if she can't do 2 of the 6 activities of daily living. If she doesn't need it, she can access a cash value tax-free. For example, in year 10, if she wants, she could take an exotic trip or something, and she could get a nice chunk over $600,000. Yeah. This is clearly for retirement planning. If she wants to, she can take it. She can start taking $28,000 a year tax-free at age 69, which increases with inflation for life. If, for example, she makes it to 85, that withdrawal could be over $40,000 tax-free annually. All living benefits, there are more. I'm quite sure no other tool out there can accomplish this. Anyway, he said, "Questions welcome. Perhaps I was wrong about your mindset, i.e. perhaps I didn't realize you're going to ask me all these hard questions." All right, so then he gives an illustration. We're putting not 101,000 in total. We're putting 101,000 a year for 4 years. All right, so he did not make that clear at all. He said 101,000 in sum. It's not 101,000 sum. It's 101,000 times 4. All right, so he put in 400. We'll just say 400,000 for simplicity. And by the time this lady is 68, she has $436,000 of surrender value. All right, so she put 400,000 in over the course of 64, 65, 66, 67, 68. Over the course of 5 years, that 400,000 has grown to 436,000. Interesting. So I just take my trusty calculator and I say, okay, 36 divided by 400. That's she's made all of 9% total over those 5 years, not annually, total. So that's what, 1.5% a year, if even that. All right, so that's not good. So yeah, she has 436 of surrender value. The cash value is 455,000. So if she were to surrender this policy, she would get hit with a $20,000 surrender charge. But remember, he said she can take out 38,000, or what is it, 28,000 a year, guaranteed tax-free and inflated as well. So we take our trusty calculator. We say, okay, 28,000 divided by her cash value, 436. That's a 6.4% distribution rate. 6.4% for a 68-year-old is pretty good. That's decent for a 60-year-old. That's not superior. That's decent. But saying that's adjusted for inflation and is tax-free is silly. You're not going to get this. You go look at a SPIA right now and see if you can find anything that pays you 6.4% with inflation adjustment. There's nothing out there, nothing. So to insinuate that could do that without saying explicitly is most likely not is just bad sales practice. And again, the life insurance business, they're full of people just like this. All right, so then he said, by the time this lady is, by the time she's 85, she's taking 40,000 a year tax free. The whole thing's nuts. So basically what's happening here is she's no longer putting premiums in. All right, so by the time she's 73 years old, if she did not take any money out, she only has $623,000 of cash value in there. She's of surrender value. So by the time she's 10 years have gone by, she put in $400,000. We'll take my trusty calculator. We put in we'll say, let's for simplicity, 400,000. I don't know why I want to do this. We're going to say $100,000, and we're going to make 4 payments. And I don't know how to do it on my calculator to figure out what her total return would be. Either way, she put in $400,000. She has $623,000 to show for it. How do you do that for 4 years and then you only got, but you got 10? I'm not sure. Off the top of my head, I can't remember. That's not a great rate of return. Let's just put that way. And how we know is we say, okay, let's just put 100,000 in for simplicity year one. 10 years later, we're just going to say 7% rate of return. Well, we know what that'd be. That'd be $200,000, all right? So if you had $400,000 you put in over the course of 10 years, if you got 7% rate of return just in 10 years, that 7% on 100,000 would be worth 200,000. So this isn't a great rate of return at all. And the reason for that is because it's weighed down by fees. There's no other way around that. The fees are extraordinary. And if she's pulling money out of this, no, this sucker is not long for the world. That's for sure. I can tell you that right now. Anyway, so I said to Jill, I said, oh, that's weird. I said, okay. So I said, he has you put in 100,000 each year for the first 4 years, and supposedly you have 636,000 at year 10 or so, and this is a guaranteed return. Ask him, so are you guaranteeing these numbers? Are you guaranteeing those numbers? Because that's not a guarantee. That's what when you have life insurance components, you have the guaranteed amount, you have current costs, and you have high costs. And basically that 636,000, are you guaranteeing that they're big guy? And I said, so ask him if he's guaranteeing that. The answer, of course, is no. Secondly, at year 69, she can draw 28K a year with inflation, eh? And I told you about that. That's a 6.5% return rate. No one is getting that on a SPIA with inflation adjustment at all. You know why? Because you'd be destroying the cash value. Without question. And destroying the cash value, what's happening is your cash value is getting depleted each and every year because you're pulling money out and the fees. And in 10 short years, there's no cash value left to support the policy. So if you want to have this policy intact, you're going to have to freaking put some serious money into that. Or else not only will the policy expire, you're going to have some tax bill due too. Because if the policy expires before you do and you had outstanding loans against it, that's tax-free, man. I mean, that's taxable, and that's a tax bomb waiting to happen. And the fact that this guy doesn't say that, it doesn't shock me. This is the issue when you hear these guys are saying, oh, you can take 28, take 40,000 tax-free, blah, blah, blah. You're borrowing against the policy. You're not taking distributions. You're borrowing against the policy. And if the cash value starts to sink each and every year because you're taking more than that's putting back in from investment returns, which it will because you're taking, in that case, 6% a year out, plus there's fees on top of that, there's no way that policy is going to stay solvent. And if it doesn't, and it dies before you do, you have to pay tax on that accumulated gain that you did not pay tax on because you were borrowing tax-free, but it doesn't work if the policy expires before you do. Oh, man. Anyway, you know what happens to your tax-free money then? You pay tax. What the hell, I say. And so anyway, Jill said, I figured there are a few catches. Even in the 28K per year of 475,000 cash value, are you saying it's not really for life? Like my pension's not for life. No way. Are you saying would be get deducted each year from cash value and be gone with 10 years? Could be. Absolutely. If you do not have the money to keep the policy afloat, i.e. there's not enough cash to cover the cost of insurance, that policy will expire. And look, I've seen this a million times. Because people get awful aggressive on the front of the illustration and the back end when the policy is just sucking wind. They're like, you got to put money into there. And the sad thing, a lot of these people have already spent that money. They don't have the money to put into it. And guess what? The policy expires and they get hit with a big tax bill. It's ugly, man. Ugly. And so here she says, I get $25,000 a year per pension on $415,000 lump sum immediately at 56. And hers is for life, though not tax-free and no inflation adjustment. That's 13 extra years. Yeah, and then she says, no need for life insurance. He hasn't convinced me at all. Finally, then she says, and then she says, it's funny because when I asked him the questions, this is Jill, she said, when I asked him the questions that I told her to ask, he never got back to her. Interesting. So that's what I'm saying. These guys are preying on your ignorance, on your hope, on your desire that there is a better method than what you know, and there can't be. There's just not. There's no better method, man. Especially when it comes to insurance. The fees are through the roof on these products, and if you're older, the cost of insurance is through the roof. Do you really think the insurance company is going to make it cheap for you, or if they have to come up with a $1.37 million of a death benefit or accelerated death benefit for a long-term care policy, and you've only put $400,000 in there, you don't think they're freaking funding that with some serious cost of insurance? COI, they are. Guaranteed right now. And they got to pay commissions to these guys to spout this crap. Commissions, it used to be 65% of the first year premium. I have no idea what it is anymore. First year premium, in this case, is $100,000. That's $65,000. The insurance company isn't giving away that for free. That's why there's a surrender value that's much less than the cash value. Well, surrender value, because if you were to surrender that policy, they got basically make back their commissions that they paid. It's bad stuff, man. And the sad thing is, there is a place for permanent life insurance, but the way these guys are doing it, nah, stay away. All right, see you.